Oh, hey. Welcome to Weekly Lit, bonus episode 7, part 1 of summer beach recommendations. Just getting ready to do a little fishing and birding here, and it looks like it's a little breezy out there, so in order to have better quality recording, I'm doing it from inside the Jeep before throwing some lines in the water. So we're going to start out with a recommendation, and this is geared toward, generally, without being exclusive, toward men. But I realize women may enjoy this book too, or this series that I'm going to recommend. So I'm not trying to be exclusive. I'm just recognizing that there are inclinations towards certain types of works, especially in genre fiction. But I also have recommendations coming up geared not exclusively, but primarily toward women in part 2, the second bonus episode, episode 8. So a couple recommendations today. The first is a current series by Jack Carr, following the protagonist James Reese. It starts with The Terminal List, which is going to be an Amazon series in the next year or so with Chris Pratt starring. And the author, Jack Carr, the author, is a retired SEAL, Navy SEAL veteran. I believe, don't quote me on the exact details, but I think he was in the service for over 20 years, many deployments. So he knows what he's talking about when he has the military expertise and the travel expertise, as well as hunting, outdoorsmanship, and things like that, that all come into play with his novels. I believe his mother was a librarian, has a literary background, and so that really comes through the influences from Hemingway, I think Jack London, I would guess, and all come out in his novels. So the first one is The Terminal List. The most recent one is The Devil's Hand. It came out in April. I have True Believer here, which is the second in the series, and it's an excellent series, a lot of action to it. All of the, and it's well written. It's at the top of the genre currently. If you like Brad Thor, Mark Greaney, those are all good writers. He's of that, or Vince Flynn. He's in that level of expertise with writing, and really at the top of that list, I would say. And so the plots are good. At least the first 4. I haven't read the 5th one yet. It's on my shelf to read this summer. I have the hardback of that. You can read them out of order, and it probably wouldn't matter, but it would. If you're planning on doing it, why not start at the beginning with The Terminal List and go from there, and you'll enjoy that. He gets the gear down pat. Everything from hatchets and vehicles to, of course, guns. And if you enjoy gun talk, knife talk, things like that, he's dead on with the accuracy as to the specifications and usage. So if you have any interest in that, I happen to, it makes it a rewarding read. I'll take a little bit of a break to mention weeklylit@gmail.com. I do this as that's the email address for this. Do this to share recommendations, have some brief insights into literature, maybe turn people onto things they might not otherwise be aware of, or discuss things that might be a little intimidating from time to time. So we vary it up across the board with different types of analysis. This week we're doing the beach recommendations because it's Memorial Day weekend, but send me your comments, comment below, like it, share it, subscribe, discuss, give me questions or give me recommendations. I'll take it all. And like I said, if there's not a dialogue, then I'll just keep talking. It's fine with me. The second part of this, I'm going to go back to a series that began, I think in the 70s, mid-70s, and very well known, but I think it's a classic of the genre for beach reads, and that's the Bourne series by Robert Ludlum, primarily the Bourne Identity. Everybody's familiar with the movie by now. The book far better than the movie, far, far, far better. And at the top, at his peak, Robert Ludlum, which I think his peak was the Bourne Identity, he was at the top of his game, at the top of the level of thriller writers. There were a lot of good ones in the 70s, Frederick Forsyth being another one of similar vintage. I think Ludlum trailed off by the mid-80s. I know they continued with a ghostwriter and admitted it as such probably by the 90s. I think it probably started a little earlier than that, judging by the quality of it. But at the top of his game, there's a phenomenal series of probably a half dozen, maybe even 6 to 8 novels, and the Bourne Identity is that are top-notch thrillers, and the Bourne Identity is at the top of that list. I remember it being loaned to me by a fella at the YMCA in Elkhart who was the older brother of a guy I played football with in high school, and he said, "You got to read it, you'll love it." It was his favorite book. He lent it to me, and I never saw him again at the gym, so I couldn't give it back to him when when I was done with it. And in turn, I lent it to somebody else with the same admonition: "You're going to love it, you're going to read it." And I never got it back from that person either. I think I have another copy since then, because it's a great thing to have on hand. Anyway, Bourne Identity is a must-read in the thriller genre, and it's perfect for the summer. So that's it for this bonus episode of Summer Beach recommendations. Remember Jack Carr, the Terminal List series, beginning with the Terminal List, and Robert Ludlum, begin with the Bourne Identity. Thank you for your time. Remember, read harder.